If I asked you to guess the most dangerous job in America, you'd probably say police officer, or firefighter, maybe construction worker. You'd be wrong, and not by a small margin. The job that kills more workers per capita than any other in this country doesn't involve guns, fires, or burning buildings. It involves trees. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this job is so much deadlier than people realize, and why almost nobody who does it sees it coming. Every year, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks something called the fatal injury rate. Basically, how many workers in a given profession die on the job per 100,000 employed in that field. It's the most reliable way to measure how dangerous a job actually is, because it strips away assumptions and just looks at outcomes. When researchers ran the most recent numbers, one profession sat at the very top of the list, well above everything else: logging workers, with a fatal injury rate of over 100 per 100,000 workers. To put that in perspective, police officers, a job most people assume is the most dangerous in the country, don't even come close to that number. Loggers are dying on the job at a rate that dwarfs almost every other profession in America, including ones we typically associate with constant, life-threatening risk. So why don't we hear about this? Why isn't this job part of the cultural conversation the way police work or firefighting is? The answer is almost depressingly simple. Loggers work in isolated places, far from cities, far from cameras, far from anyone who'd report on what happens to them. Their deaths don't make the evening news. They happen quietly, in forests most of us will never visit, to people most of us will never meet. Let's talk about what actually makes this job so lethal, because it's not one single danger. It's an entire stack of risks that compound on top of each other every single day. First, the tool itself. A logger's primary piece of equipment is a chainsaw capable of cutting through a tree trunk in seconds. That same blade, in the wrong split second, can do catastrophic damage to a human body. There is essentially zero margin for error. Second, the trees themselves are unpredictable. A tree that looks stable can have internal rot, uneven weight distribution, or a center of gravity that shifts the second the first cut is made. Experienced loggers can read a tree's lean, judge wind, and still get it wrong, because trees don't always fall where physics says they should. Third, the equipment around them. Loggers work alongside massive machinery: skidders, feller bunchers, log loaders, moving multi-ton trunks through tight, uneven terrain. A single mechanical failure, or a single moment of miscommunication between a machine operator and a worker on the ground, can be fatal in an instant. Fourth, the location. Most logging happens in remote, often mountainous terrain, far from hospitals. If something goes wrong, and in this job something eventually does, emergency responders might be 30 minutes or more away. In an industry where injuries are often catastrophic rather than minor, that response time is frequently the difference between survival and another statistic. Fifth, and often overlooked, the transportation. Getting massive loads of timber down narrow, winding mountain roads, sometimes in poor weather, adds an entire second layer of danger most people never consider when they picture this job. Stack all 5 of these together, every single day, for years at a time, and the math becomes brutally clear. This isn't a job with one obvious danger you can train around. It's a job where the danger is structural, built into nearly every task, every day, regardless of how careful or experienced you are. Here's where the story gets even more uncomfortable. You'd assume a job with this level of risk would come with a salary to match. It doesn't, not really. The median salary for logging workers in the United States sits well below 6 figures, closer to the $45,000 to $55,000 range, depending on region and experience. Compare that to other high-risk professions. Airline pilots, for example, face serious occupational hazards too, and walk away with salaries closer to $200,000 a year. Logging doesn't get that kind of compensation. Most loggers don't need a 4-year degree. Many learn through apprenticeship and years of hands-on experience instead, which keeps the barrier to entry low. But it also means an entire industry of extremely dangerous, physically brutal work exists with a pay ceiling that often doesn't reflect the risk being taken on every single day. It's also worth saying, in a lot of small rural American towns, logging isn't a choice between several careers. It's often one of the only stable, well-paying jobs available locally. For a lot of families, the risk isn't really optional. It's the price of staying employed in the place they call home. Statistics can numb you to what's actually happening here. So let's slow down for a moment. Every single one of those fatality numbers represents someone who left for work in the morning and didn't come home. A parent, a spouse, someone's kid, sibling, or best friend. In an industry this small and this geographically concentrated, these aren't abstract statistics to the communities involved. They're a name everyone in town recognizes, a face people remember. Logging towns tend to be tight-knit by necessity. When a fatal accident happens, it doesn't just affect one household. It ripples through an entire community that already knows on some level that this is the risk everyone in that line of work is carrying. Veteran loggers will tell you the danger never fully disappears. No matter how many years of experience you accumulate, skill reduces risk. It doesn't eliminate it. Even the most careful, most experienced workers in this field can do everything right and still end up on the wrong side of a falling tree, a shifting load, or a piece of machinery that fails at the worst possible second. That's the part that's hard to sit with. This isn't a job where the danger goes away once you get good at it. The danger is just always there, in the background, every single shift. So here's the question worth asking. Is this job worth the risk? For a lot of the people who do it, the honest answer is complicated. It's not really a question of, is the danger worth the paycheck in a vacuum? It's a question of what other options actually exist in the places these jobs are located. For many, logging isn't a high-risk choice made for thrill or money. It's one of the few paths to a stable income in a region that doesn't offer many alternatives. That doesn't make the risk smaller. It just means the calculation most of us would make from the comfort of an office job doesn't really apply to the people actually making this decision. For them, it's not abstract. It's Monday morning, every single week, for years. The most dangerous job in America isn't the one with flashing lights, sirens, or headlines. It's the one happening quietly in the woods, far from any camera. If this surprised you the way it surprised us researching it, subscribe to Riskline. Every week we break down the real jobs, the real numbers, and the real risks that most people never think about until they hear it laid out like this. And here's a question for the comments. Before this video, would you have guessed logging was the most dangerous job in the country? Tell us what you actually guessed. We want to see how far off the common assumption really is.